Hello, welcome to another video. This time we'll be covering dementia before the finals, and this will be a shorter kind of video compared to what we have made before. So I'll look quickly at the definition of dementia. It's an umbrella term for progressive neurological diseases, which result in decreased cognition, impaired memory, and changes in behavior. So first we're going to talk about reversible dementias. So reversible dementia has the same sort of symptoms as the permanent dementias. However, they're caused by underlying and treatable conditions, such as vitamin deficiencies, medication interactions, infections, dehydration, and toxins. So after these underlying causes are treated, the brain usually restores some, if not all, of its function. So next we're going to talk about primary irreversible dementias. And these diseases are in the primary category because cognitive decline and all the symptoms of dementia are the main property of the disease. There are four that you should know. The first one is Alzheimer's disease, which is the expansion of plaques and tangles within the brain, and this disrupts the connections between them. The symptoms are a gradual loss in short-term memory and long-term as well. This is the most common type of dementia. The second one is called multi-infarct or vascular dementia. And these are essentially mini strokes within the brain, which starves the brain cells of oxygen. This is why it is a stepwise loss in function, because after every stroke, you lose more of your skills of planning and memory and language and things like that. The third disease is frontal temporal dementia, which is the specific degeneration of your frontal and temporal lobes. This causes early changes within personality, language processing, and increased impulsivity. And then the final primary irreversible dementia you need to know is Lewy bodies dementia, which Lewy bodies are within a neuron and it disrupts its function. The main symptoms of this are hallucinations and tremors, sort of like in Parkinson's, but hallucinations are a big telltale sign of Lewy bodies dementia. So now we're going to talk about secondary irreversible dementias. And the difference between a primary and secondary dementia is secondary dementias have their symptoms and cognitive decline as a result of a different disease instead of it being its primary trait. So the first disease is Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. This is when an infectious protein enters the body and starts infecting other proteins within your nervous system. These are called prions, but I think that's out of scope. The symptoms of this disease is a very fast cognitive decline and muscle jerks. It's so fast that death usually occurs within 1 year. The second disease is Wernicke-Korsakoff disease, which is a chronic lack of thiamine or vitamin B. This results from chronic alcoholism or a poor diet, which doesn't include the vitamin itself. The symptoms of this disease is anterograde amnesia, which is the inability to form new memories, or high confabulation, which are large gaps in your memories, so you fabricate stories to kind of bridge the gap. The third disease is Parkinson's disease, which is a specific degeneration of a type of neuron, dopamine, and this starts in the spine, but it eventually reaches your brain, which causes the dementia symptoms. The symptoms are notable tremors before the cognitive decline happens. So now we're going to talk about the stages of dementia. And I just want you to know that this is a broad overview. If you want to look at the smaller details, I would take a look at your learner guide. Stage one is mild. This is a slight decrease in your executive function. It's subtle forgetfulness and difficulty planning things. And a client may be aware that this is happening to them, so they may have reactions like denial, anger, or frustration that this is happening to them. The second stage is moderate. This is when large gaps in their memory start to form and significant changes in behavior, such as sundowning and irritability, occur. Sundowning is the brain's inability to regulate its day and night cycle, which results in confusion and responsive behaviors. At this point, they may need assistance with ADLs. And then finally, it's severe dementia, stage 3. The brain loses the ability to coordinate the body. This results in a loss of speech, dysphagia, loss in motor skills, and eventually the client will pass away when the body can't coordinate breathing anymore. At this stage, the client will need total assistance with ADLs. But remember to keep using the DIPS and CARE principles. Well, that's all I'm going to talk about for dementia. Best of luck on the exams. And please watch my mental health video as well.